Okay. So now today we are going to start with conjunctions lesson, right? So even though there are like 5-6 students, we have to start now. Otherwise, we will not be able to achieve our targets for the today. The session, whatever I am planning to do, right? I have certain targets to cover. So we'll see what are these conjunctions. Conjunctions are actually, it's a part of speech. English වල තියෙන parts of speech කියලා දෙයක්. Right? මේ parts of speech එකේ කොටස් 8ක් තියෙනවා. There are 8 parts in this parts of like kind of speech. මේ parts of speech කියන එකේ කොටස් 8ක් තියෙනවානේ. මේ කොටස් 8න් එකක් තමයි conjunctions කියන්නේ. Right? Conjunctions කියන එක ඇත්තටම මේ parts of speech කියන එකෙන් එකක්. Right? එකක් කියන්නේ එතන තියෙනවා nouns, adjectives, adverbs, එතකොට තව ගොඩක් දේවල් තියෙනවා. ඔතන 8ට include වෙලා. ඔය 8න් එකක් තමයි conjunctions කියන්නේ. Right? Conjunctions කියනකොට 8න් එකක් තමයි conjunctions වලට conjunctions වෙන්නේ. Right? එතකොට අපි මේ conjunctions පාවිච්චි කරනවා දෙකක් හෝ ඊට වැඩි ප්‍රමාණයක වචන වාක්‍ය ඛණ්ඩ නැත්නම් වාක්‍ය කොටස් එකට එකතු කරලා සම්පූර්ණ වාක්‍යයක් හදන්න. වචන වාක්‍ය ඛණ්ඩ නැත්නම් සම්පූර්ණ අදහසක් නැති වාක්‍ය කෑලි. හරි සිංහලෙන් කිව්වොත් එකට එකතු කරලා සම්පූර්ණ වාක්‍ය හදන්න. මොකද වචන තිබුණාට මදි වචන එකට එකතු කරලා හැදුවොත් තමයි වාක්‍ය හදන්න පුළුවන්. එතකොට එහෙම අදහස් එකට එකතු කරන්න අපිට වචන එකට එකතු කරලා දෙයක් කරන්න පුළුවන් මේ conjunctions වල උදව්වෙන්. right? conjunctions ඇත්තටම ಜಾති තුනක් තියෙනවා ඉංග්‍රීසි වල. right? එතකොට අපි bullet points දදා කරුණු ලියන ඒවා ගොඩක් විට මගෙන් කරනවා මේ අපි conjunctions පාවිච්චි කළොත්. right? ඒ කියන්නේ අපි මොනවාරි ලියනකොට points දානානේ bullet points දදා ලියනවා. right? bullet points දදා ලියන්න නැතුව අපිට පුළුවන් bullet points දෙකක් තුනක් එකට එකතු කරලා අදහස් කීපයක් නැත්නම් දේවල් කීපයක් එකට එකතු කරලා දිග වාක්‍යයක් හදන්න. මේ දිග වාක්‍ය හදන්න ඇත්තටම දිග වාක්‍ය හදලා ඒ කියන්නේ flow එකක් තියෙනවා ගලාගෙන යෑමක් තියෙනවා. මේ ගලාගෙන යෑම තියාගන්න පුළුවන් මේ conjunctions වල උදව්වෙන්. conjunctions නැමයි කියලා bullet points අපි නැති කරා කියලා ගලා යෑම නැති වෙන්නේ නැහැ. අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම ගලා යෑමක් තියෙනවා. so conjunctions අපි පාවිච්චි කරනවා මොනවා හරි වචන දෙකක් හෝ වාක්‍ය ඛණ්ඩ දෙකක් හෝ සම්පූර්ණ වාක්‍ය දෙකක් එකට එකතු කරන්න උනත් එකතු කරලා උනත් අපිට දිග වාක්‍යයක් හොඳ පැහැදිලි වාක්‍යයක් හදාගන්න පුළුවන්. right? එහෙම තියෙනවා. right? එතකොට මේකෙන් අපි මේ conjunctions පාවිච්චි කරන එක වාසියක් තමයි bullet points එකකින් එකට පාවිච්චි කරන එක අඩු වෙනවා. right? එතකොට ගලාගෙන යෑම හැමම තියෙනවා. bullet points අඩු කරා කියලා ගලාගෙන යෑම නැති වෙන්නේ නැහැ. ගලාගෙන යෑම හැමම තියෙනවා. right? is it clear?
Clear, miss.
දැන් අපි බලමු මම ඉස්සෙල්ලා කියව conjunctions ಜಾති තුනක් තියෙනවායි කියලා. right? conjunctions ಜಾති තුනක් තියෙනවා කිව්වනේ. conjunctions ಜಾති තුන තමයි subordinating conjunctions, coordinating conjunctions, correlative conjunctions. right? ඉංග්‍රීසි වල මේ තියෙන subordinating conjunctions, correlative conjunctions, coordinating conjunctions ඇත්තටම අපි automatically පාවිච්චි වෙනවා. ඕගොල්ලෝ මෙච්චර කාලයකට දැනන් ඉන්නේ නැතුව ඇති මේක subordinating conjunction එකක්. මේක coordinating conjunction එකක්. මේක correlative conjunction එකක් කියලා ඔයා දැනගෙන ඉන්නේ නැතුව ඇති. හැබැයි ඔයා ඒක පාවිච්චි කරා මෙච්චර කාලයකට. coordinating ඔයාලා and පාවිච්චි කරනවා, but පාවිච්චි කරනවා, because පාවිච්චි කරනවා. ඔය වගේම පාවිච්චි කරනවා. හැබැයි දැනන් හිටියේ නෑ නේද? coordinating conjunctions කියන්නේ මේවා, subordinating conjunctions කියන්නේ මේවා, correlative conjunctions කියන්නේ මේවා කියලා. අද ඒවා පැහැදිලිව වෙන්වෙන්ව ඉගෙන ගන්න. right? coordinating conjunctions. ඒ වචනේම තියෙන co. right? co කියන කොට මතක තියාගන්න මේ coordinating conjunctions එන්නේ ඇත්තටම වචන 7කින්. 7යි මේ coordinating conjunctions තියෙන්නේ. මේව හරිය ලේසි මතක තියාගන්න අපි මේවට කියනවා fan boys. Fan boys කියන ස්ටෙප් එක සාමාන්‍ය මේ coordinating conjunctions එන්නේ. ඒ කියන්නේ for and neither but or yes කියන එක වෙනුවට මෙතන අපි yet කියන එකයි පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ ගොඩක් වෙලාවට so right yet කියන එක මම හිතන්නේ අහලා තියෙනවා ඔයාලා පාවිච්චි වෙන විදිහක් දන්නව ඇති right නැත්නම් අහන්න මම එක්සැම්පල් එකක් කියන්නම් right ඔය ටික තමයි fan boys යටතට එන්නේ right fan boys කියන්නේ coordinating conjunctions වලට coordinating conjunctions කියන්නේ මේ fan boys හත් දෙනා right fan boys හත් දෙනා තමයි coordinating conjunctions යටතට එන්නේ subordinating conjunctions ඊළඟ type එක English වල 75%ක්ම right 75ක් 80%ක්ම ඔයා පාවිච්චි කරන conjunctions වලින් ඒවා එන්නේ subordinating conjunctions යටතට coordinating conjunctions කොහොම කරත් 7යි ඊතුරු ඒවා වලින් බහුතරයක් subordinating conjunctions correlative conjunctions තියෙනවා correlative conjunctions තියෙන්නේ උපරිම 10ක් වගේ right ඊතුරු ඒවා ඔක්කොම 75ක් 80ක්ම ඇත්තම කිව්වොත් subordinating conjunctions although because nevertheless furthermore in addition in conclusion ඒ කියන්නේ conjunctions කිව්වට මේවට in order වචන දෙකක් තියෙනවා in conclusion right furthermore එක වචනයක් furthermore කියලා කිව්වට right further එකක් more එකක් නෙමෙයි furthermore එකක් right ඕක subordinating conjunction මතක තියාගන්න ගොඩාක් advanced conjunctions එන්නේ coordinating conjunctions වලත් correlative conjunctions වලත් නෙමෙයි subordinating conjunctions වල සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපි coordinating conjunctions පාවිච්චි කරලා හදන්නේ compound sentences විතරයි right ඔයාලට ඉංග්‍රීසි පුළුවන් කියලා පෙන්වන්න පුළුවන් හොඳම විදිහ subordinating conjunctions පාවිච්චි කරලා අපි හදන complex sentences ඊළඟ දවසේ අපි sentence structures උත් ඉගෙන ගන්න sentence ජාති ඉගෙන ගන්න right so අනිත් type එක තමයි correlative conjunctions correlative conjunctions සාමාන්‍යයෙන් English වල තරමක් තියෙනවා තරමක් තිබුණට correlative conjunctions බොහොම පරිස්සමෙන් පාවිච්චි කරන්න either or neither nor එතකොට not only වාක්‍ය ඛණ්ඩයක් but also although yet though yet either or neither nor ඕවා හරියට පාවිච්චි කරන්න. ඔයාලට පේනවද වචන දෙකක් තියෙනවා. වාක්‍ය මුලට මුල ඛණ්ඩයක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඊට පස්සේ correlative conjunction එකේ මුල් කොටස වාක්‍ය ඛණ්ඩයක් correlative conjunction එකේ දෙවෙනි කොටස ආයි වාක්‍ය ඛණ්ඩයක්. ඔහොම සම්පූර්ණ දිග වාක්‍යයක් හදන්න පුළුවන් අපිට correlative conjunctions පාවිච්චි කරලා. right? අපි බලමු දැන් coordinating conjunctions ගැන බොහොම පැහැදිලිව. coordinating conjunctions අපි independent clauses දෙකක් එකට සම්බන්ධ කරන්න පාවිච්චි කරනවා. සාමාන්‍යයෙන් හොඳට මතක තියාගන්න ළමයි පටලව ගන්න රූල් එකක්. coordinating conjunction එකක් වාක්‍යයක දැම්මොත් අනිවාර්යෙන් මේ coordinating conjunction එක ඉස්සරහින් comma එකක් කොමාව පාවිච්චි කළ යුතුමයි. කොමාව නැති වුණොත් ඔයා මේ පාවිච්චි කරලා තියෙන coordinating conjunction එක ඉස්සරහින් ඒක grammatically වැරදි කියලා අපි සලකන්නේ. ඔයා කොච්චර වාක්‍ය ලිව්වත් වැඩක් නැහැ. I want to read the books and also I want to go to the park in the evening as well කියලා කිව්වට වැඩක් නැහැ. ඔයාගේ end එකට ඉස්සරහින් comma එක නැති වුණොත් ඔයා ලියලා තියෙන ඔය වාක්‍යයට අපි හරිය දෙනවා. නමුත් ලකුණු අඩු කරනවා comma එක නැති නිසා. ඒක rule එකක්. අනිවාර්ය rule එකක් ඔයා comma එක පාවිච්චි කළ යුතුමයි coordinating conjunctions ඉස්සරහින්. right? බලන්න මේ fan boys එන්නේ මෙහෙමයි. මතක තියාගන්න fan boys කියන 6 දෙනා එකතු වෙලා තමයි coordinating conjunctions හදන්නේ. right? and එක අපි පාවිච්චි කරනවා purpose එකකට. but එකයි yet එකයි පාවිච්චි කරන මොකක් හරි දෙකක් අතර සංසන්දනය කිරීමක් කරන්න. so අපි පාවිච්චි කරනවා මොකක් හරි ප්‍රතිඵලයක් මොකකට හරි හේතු වෙන දෙයක් කියන්නේ. so පාවිච්චි කරන ප්‍රතිඵලයක් අතුරු ඵලයක් කියන්නේ. o පාවිච්චි කරනවා choice එකක් තේරීමක් කරනකොට. no පාවිච්චි කරනවා introducing a second negative item. ඒ කියන්නේ මොකක් හරි දෙකක් අතර නෙගටිව් අයිටම් එක දෙවෙනි එක අපි ඉග්නෝර් කරනවා කියලා කියන්නේ no පාවිච්චි කරනවා. right? subordinating conjunctions අපි පාවිච්චි කරනවා dependent clauses independent clauses එක්ක join කරද්දී. right? dependent clause එකකුයි independent clause එකකුයි join කරනකොට තමයි අපි subordinating conjunctions පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ. කලබල වෙන්න එපා. මම කියලා දෙන්නම් මොනවාද මේ independent clauses කියන්නේ dependent clauses කියන්නේ කියලා. මම කලින් කිව්වා වගේ as I said before, right? ගොඩාක් ඉංග්‍රීසි වල තියෙන්නේ මේ subordinating conjunctions. බලන්න comparison මොනවා හරි සංසන්දනය කරනකොට මොනවා හරි දෙයක් ගැන කියනකොට හේතු දෙනකොට එතකොට relative pronouns එන්නේ මේ subordinating conjunctions යටතට relative adjectives එන්නේ coordinating conjunctions වලට නෙවෙයි subordinating conjunctions වලට. එතකොට condition එකක් ගැන කියනකොට concession එකක් කරනකොට අපි පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ subordinating conjunctions. මම කිව්වා වගේ correlative conjunctions කියන්නේ conjunctions වලම જાතියක් තමයි. හැබැයි correlative conjunctions ගොඩක් වෙලාවට දෙකක් තියෙනවා. ඔයාලට පේනවා නේද? ඩොට් තුනක් තියෙනවා මේ හැම එකේම. මම මේ දීලා තියෙන examples හැම එකේම ඩොට්ස් තුනක් තියෙනවා. මේ ඩොට්ස් තුන පාවිච්චි කරලා තියෙන්නේ ඔයාලට මොකක් හරි වාක්‍ය ඛණ්ඩයක් උතෙන්ට දාන්න පුළුවන්. right? both බලන්න පළවෙනි එක. both three dots and. හරිද? ඔයාට both විතරක් ගන්න බෑ. ඔයාට and විතරක් ගන්නත් බෑ. එහෙම ගත්තොත් වචන දෙකක්. both එකයි and එකයි එකම වාක්‍ය තියෙනවා නම් හරිද? ගොඩාක් වෙලාවට coordinating conjunction ඔයාට බලන්න මෙතන තියෙනවා ගොඩක් වෙලාවට coordinating conjunction එකකුයි subordinating conjunction එකකුයි එකට එකතු වෙලා නැත්තම් එකම જાති දෙන්නෙක් එකට එකතු වෙලා තමයි මේ correlative conjunctions හැදිලා තියෙන්නේ. ඔයා බලන්න මම ඉස්සෙල්ලා කිව්වා O. O කියන්නේ coordinating conjunction එක. I කියන්නේ subordinating conjunction එක. එතකොට subordinating conjunction එකකුයි coordinating conjunction එකකුයි එකට එකතු වෙලා තමයි මේ සම්පූර්ණ correlative conjunction එක හැදිලා තියෙන්නේ. එහෙම දෙකම ಜಾති දෙකෙන් දෙකක් නොවන ඒවා තියෙනවා. එහෙම වෙලාවට එකම ಜಾතිය දෙන්නෙක් තමයි එකට එකතු වෙලා ඉන්නේ. right? ඒ එකට එකතු වෙලා ඉන්න දෙන්න හොඳට මතක තියාගන්න coordinating conjunction දෙකක් නෙවෙයි. right? coordinating conjunction දෙකක් එකට එකතු වෙලා එහෙම හැදෙන අවස්ථා බොහෝම 100ට එකක් වගේ තියෙනවා. ඇත්තටම එහෙම නැති තරම්. හැබැයි subordinating conjunctions දෙකක් එකට එකතු වෙලා correlative conjunction එකක් හැදෙන්න පුළුවන්. right? ඒක හොඳට මතක තියාගන්න. එහෙම නැති වෙලාවලුත් තියෙනවා. right? එහෙම නැති වෙලාවලුත් 100ට එකක් වගේ තමයි තියෙන්නේ. right? so මේවා නම් භාවිතා කරලම තමයි ඉගෙන ගන්න පුළුවන්. if you use this you will automatically remember this. I can't say only if you know these things you will only remembering or you will only knowing this. No, that's not the way it is. Exactly, if you want to learn these things obviously practically please use these things. practically මේ දේවල් use කරන්න. correlative conjunctions ඉගෙන ගත්තා, coordinating conjunctions ඉගෙන ගත්තා, subordinating conjunctions ඉගෙන ගත්තා. මම කිව්වා coordinating conjunctions පාවිච්චි කරනකොට අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම coordinating conjunction එක ඉස්සරහින් කමා එකක් පාවිච්චි කරන්නම ඕනේ. වාක්‍යයක දානවා නම්. නැත්නම් ඒක grammatically wrong කියලා තමයි අපි පිළිගන්නේ. right? දෙවෙනි point එක subordinating conjunctions ඉස්සරහින් කමා එකක් දාන්න ඕන කියලා නීතියක් නැහැ. There's no rule so called you have to use a comma in front of subordinating conjunction. There's nothing like that. එහෙම දෙයක් නැහැ. right? ඔළුවේ තියාගන්න එක. අනිත් එක තමයි correlative conjunctions use කරනකොට මේ subordinating conjunction එක ඉස්සරහින් කමා එකක් නොදැම්මට coordinating conjunction එක ඉස්සරහින් කමා එකක් දැම්මට වැරදි නැහැ. right? තැනට හරියනවා නම් අනිවාර්යෙන්ම දාන්න ඕනේ මේ තියෙන තැන අනිවාර්යෙන්ම coordinating conjunction එකක් තියෙනවා නම්. right? එකම ජාතිය නම් කොහොමද? එකම ජාතිය නම් මං කිව්වා එකම ජාතිය ගොඩක් වෙලාට coordinating conjunctions එහෙම correlative conjunctions යටතට එන්නේ නැහැ. එනවා නම් එන්නේ subordinating conjunctions දෙකක් වගේ තමයි. එහෙම outcomes දාන්නේ නැහැ නේ දෙකක්. suitable තැන් වලට විතරක් කමා එක දාන්න. එතකොට ලියන විදිහ අනුව. right? Okay. Now I am going to show you a small video about these relatives. Correlative conjunctions, subordinating conjunctions, and coordinating conjunctions.
In today's lesson, we will learn about conjunctions. Conjunctions connect words or groups of words. Without conjunctions, your speech and your writing would sound stilted and awkward. Conjunctions are either coordinate, subordinate, or correlative. Let's start with coordinate conjunctions. A coordinate conjunction connects words or groups of words that are independent of each other. In other words, coordinating conjunctions connect words, phrases, and independent clauses. There are 7 main coordinate conjunctions. These are for, and, nor, but, or, yet, or so. Let's look at some examples of these coordinating conjunctions in a sentence. Hay and grain are sold here. Will you take tea or coffee? He was pale but undaunted. The teacher replied courteously but firmly. The troops embarked rapidly but without confusion. Noon came, and the task was still unfinished. We must hide here until night falls and the street is deserted. Let's take a look at the first 4 sentences. In each of the first 4 sentences, the conjunction and, or, but connects single words that are in the same construction: subjects, objects, predicate adjectives, or adverbs. In the 5th sentence, the conjunction but connects an adverb with an adverbial phrase, both being modifiers of the verb embarked. In the 6th sentence, the conjunction and joins the 2 coordinate or independent clauses of a compound sentence. And in the 7th example, the conjunction and joins 2 coordinate clauses which, taken together, make up the subordinate clause until night falls and the street is deserted, which would make this clause a compound subordinate clause. It is important to observe the punctuation rule when using a coordinating conjunction to connect 2 complete independent or coordinate clauses. Always put a comma before the conjunction. Let's look at some examples. We were hungry, comma, for we hadn't eaten in 5 hours. The comma precedes the conjunction for because both clauses are independent. Remember the acronym FANBOYS to help you identify the most common coordinating conjunctions: for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Another type of coordinate conjunction is the conjunctive adverb. Conjunctive adverbs are classed as coordinating conjunctions because a conjunctive adverb is a type of adverb that joins together 2 independent clauses or sentences. Some examples of conjunctive adverbs are however, moreover, therefore, nevertheless, notwithstanding, furthermore, and consequently. Conjunctive adverbs are used mostly for transition, whether from sentence to sentence or from one paragraph to another. Let's look at an example. I went to the mall after work. However, I did not find what I was looking for. In this example, The conjunctive adverb, however, is used as a transition to coordinate two independent clauses. I went to the mall after work. I did not find what I was looking for. Let's look at another example. The album sold over 1 million copies. Moreover, it won a Grammy. The punctuation rule to apply when using conjunctive adverbs to connect two complete sentences called independent or coordinate clauses is to use a semicolon to connect the two independent clauses and place a comma after the conjunctive adverb. You may also separate these into two complete sentences. This only applies when the conjunctive adverb is at the beginning of the independent clause. When the conjunctive adverb appears at the beginning of a sentence, it should be followed by a comma, like in this example. I went to the mall after work. However, I did not find what I was looking for. Or in this other example, the album sold over 1 million copies. Moreover, it won a Grammy. A new parking lot was built near the shopping plaza. However, the additional parking lot did not provide enough spaces to accommodate all the cars. Notice that in these examples, the independent clauses are separated into two complete sentences, and a period is used. The conjunctive adverb appears at the beginning of the sentence and is followed by a comma. Sometimes the conjunctive adverb interrupts the sentence, and you only need to set it off with commas. Let's look at this example. The additional parking lot, however, did not provide enough spaces to accommodate all the cars. Notice that in this example, however, is set off with commas. And when the conjunctive adverb appears at the end, it should be preceded by a comma. Let's look at the same sentence with the conjunctive adverb at the end. The additional parking lot did not provide enough spaces to accommodate all the cars, however. The acronym to remember the most common conjunctive adverbs is THAMOS. By using THAMOS, you will be able to identify the most common conjunctive adverbs. The next type of conjunction is the subordinate conjunction. A subordinate conjunction connects a subordinate clause with the clause on which it depends. In other words, subordinating conjunctions show the relationship between a dependent and an independent clause. The main subordinate conjunctions are although, though, as if, or as though, because, if, since, when used as because, that, unless, whereas, and while. It is important to remember the punctuation rules when it comes to subordinate conjunctions. When the dependent clause is placed first in a sentence, use a comma between the two clauses. Though she saw danger, Martha was not afraid. In this example, the dependent clause, though she saw danger, begins with the subordinate conjunction though, so we separate with a comma. In the next example, the dependent clause is at the beginning and it starts with the subordinate conjunction if. If you prefer, comma, take this seat. Let's look at another example. Because it was raining, comma, we could not go out to play. In all these examples, the dependent clause is at the beginning of the sentence and the subordinate conjunction is at the beginning of the dependent clause. Let's look at an example of the independent clause placed first and the dependent clause second. In this case, do not separate the two clauses with a comma. Martha was not afraid, though she saw the danger. In the previous example, we had seen that the sentence began with the dependent clause and the subordinate conjunction though. But in this case, the dependent clause is at the end and the subordinate clause is in the middle, joining the two clauses. We do not need to insert a comma in this case. Let's look at some more examples. Take the seat if you prefer. Your career will be ruined unless you change your ways. We could not go out to play because it was raining. If you simply remember that subordinating conjunctions that fall in the middle of a sentence are generally not preceded by a comma, or that subordinating conjunctions that begin the sentence should be followed by the comma, you will be okay. Remember the acronym SWABITS to help you identify the most common subordinate conjunctions. And the third type of conjunction we will address today are the correlative conjunctions. Conjunctions that are used in pairs are called correlative conjunctions. They connect two equal grammatical terms. The main correlatives are both and, not only but also, either or, neither nor, though yet, meaning still, although yet, also meaning still, since, therefore, if, then. Examples of correlatives may be seen in the following sentences. Both lions and wolves are carnivorous. William II was not only the German emperor, but also the King of Prussia. Either brass or copper will do. Neither Keats nor Shelley lived to be old. She asked me whether I was American or Canadian. Though the roads were very bad, yet he managed to reach the city before midnight. Although he betrayed me, still I cannot believe he says he is my friend. Since 4 is the square of 2, therefore 2 is the square root of 4. If Allen's testimony is true, then Gilbert's must be false. To summarize, there are three main types of conjunctions: coordinating, subordinate, and correlative. A coordinate conjunction connects words or groups of words that are independent of each other. In other words, coordinating conjunctions connect words, phrases, and independent clauses. Remember the acronym FANBOYS. A conjunctive adverb is a type of adverb that joins together two independent clauses or sentences. It is classed as a coordinating conjunction. Remember the acronym THAMOS. A subordinate conjunction connects a subordinate clause with the clause on which it depends, an independent or coordinate clause. Remember the acronym SWABIT. Correlative conjunctions are two-part conjunctions. They are used in pairs and they connect two equal grammatical terms. They help to maintain the parallel structure of a sentence. And remember that some conjunctions may change their part of speech. A conjunction may be coordinate, subordinate, or part of a correlative depending on the context in which it is used. We hope you enjoyed this video.
Okay. Any questions with regard to the video? Any questions with regard to the video, please?
In today's
Okay. As you all remain silent, I think no questions with regard to the video. So we'll move on. Yeah. If you have, please ask. No. Right? Okay. If you, yes,
Miss,
ask.
are you giving some notes? So
Yes, don't worry. I'm sharing this to the WhatsApp. Obviously,
because
yes.
some can understand, some can't understand.
Yes, obviously, yes. Exactly. I'm sharing the document with you guys. Don't worry about that. For sure, I'll be sharing this with you guys. So, yes. Before the exam, you have to obviously go through the document. Otherwise, you feel like
Yes,
you kind of feel difficulties when you are doing the exam because obviously the exam tasks and everything which comes for your final exam assignment, surely you have to go through the slides. If not, you will be facing difficulties. So, yes, I'll be sharing the document, right? Okay.
Yes.
So, we'll continue, right? Dependent clauses and independent clauses. Whatever you have heard when you were going through the few previous slides, you can remember I said something like dependent clauses and independent clauses are linked together when creating subordinating conjunctions. When creating sentences using independent clauses with the help of coordinating conjunctions. Coordinating conjunctions are then independent clauses use කරනවා කිව්වා වගේම dependent clauses independent clauses එකට එකතු කරලා subordinating conjunctions වල උදව්වෙන් අපි sentences හදනවා, right? දැන් අපි බලමු මොනවාද මේ dependent clauses ඒ වගේම independent clauses කියන්නේ කියලා. Dependent clause කියන්නේ a group of words that contains a subject and a verb but does not express a complete thought. Dependent clause එකක් කියන්නේ dependent clause එකට subject එකයි verb එකයි තියෙනවා හැබැයි සම්පූර්ණ අදහසක් දෙන්නේ නැහැ. Subject එක කියන්නේ ක්‍රියාව කරන තැනත්තා verb එක කියන්නේ ක්‍රියාපදය. ක්‍රියාව කරන්නෙකුයි ක්‍රියාපදයකුයි තියෙනවලු නමුත් සම්පූර්ණ අදහසක් දෙන්නේ නැත්නම් ඒක dependent clause එකක් කියලා අපි හඳුන්වනවා. right? එතකොට dependent clause එකක් අපිට තනි වාක්‍යයක් විදිහට තියන්න බෑ. මොකද හේතුව සම්පූර්ණ අදහසක් නැහැ. right? dependent clause එකක් ගොඩක් වෙලාවට dependent marker word එකකින් අපිට හඳුනා ගන්න පුළුවන්. independent clause එකක් කියන්නේ a group of words that contains a subject and verb and express a complete thought. ඒ කියන්නේ independent clause එකක් කියන්නේ මේකට subject එකකුයි verb එකකුයි තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ ක්‍රියාපදයකුයි ක්‍රියාව කරන්නෙකුයි ඉන්නවා. හැබැයි සම්පූර්ණ අදහසක් දෙනවා මේකෙන් අපිට. එහෙම අදහසක් දෙනවා නම් ක්‍රියාපදයකුයි ක්‍රියාව කරන්නෙකුයි ක්‍රියාව කරන තැනත්තයි ක්‍රියාපදයකුයි තියෙනවා. හැබැයි මේකෙන් අපිට සම්පූර්ණ අදහසක් දෙනවා නම් අපි මේකට කියනවා independent clause කියලා. right? මම independent clause එකට සරල උදාහරණයක් කියනවා. ඕගොල්ලෝ අහලා තියෙන example එකක් birds fly. birds කියන්නේ subject එක. subject එක බහුවචන සිංහලෙන් කියොත් බහුවචන නාමපදයක්. right? බහුවචන පදයක්.
Like
fly නම් verb එකක් birds fly. සම්පූර්ණ අදහසක් තියෙනවා. කුරුල්ලෝ පියාඹනවා. right? කුරුල්ලෝ පියාඹනවා. right? මම දන්නේ සිංහලෙන් කිව්ව විදිහ හරිද කියලා ඉගෙන. ඔය උත්සාහ්‍යාත පද සම්බන්ධයෙන් එකක් තියෙනවනේ ඔය. හරිනේ? ඔව්. කුරුල්ලෝ පියාඹනවා. ඕක ඔය වචන දෙකයි තියෙන්නේ. හැබැයි අපිට සම්පූර්ණ අදහසක් දෙනවා. ඕක independent clause එකක්. ඕගොල්ලෝ ඔය මම කිව්ව example එක මතක තියාගන්නකෝ. කුරුල්ලෝ පියාඹනවා. birds fly. හරි. මේක independent clause එකක්. සම්පූර්ණ අදහසක් තියෙන වචන දෙකක් තිබුණා. right? dependent clause එකේ එහෙම මේ වචන subject එකයි ක්‍රියා නාමපදයකුයි ක්‍රියාපදයකුයි තිබුණාට සම්පූර්ණ අදහසක් නැහැ. right? ඒක නිසා dependent clause එකක් කවදාවත් වාක්‍යයක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. right? මතකද දැන් අපි ඉස්සෙල්ලා ඉගෙන ගත්තා subordinating conjunctions අපි පාවිච්චි කරනවා independent clause එකකුයි dependent clause එකකුයි දෙක තියෙනකොට ඒ දෙක එකට එකතු කරන්න තමයි අපි subordinating conjunctions පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ. හැබැයි අපි coordinating conjunctions පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ independent clauses දෙකක් එකට එකතු කරනකොට තමයි. right? independent clauses දෙකක් තියෙනවා නම් ඒ දෙක එකට එකතු කරන්න තමයි අපි coordinating conjunctions පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ. පැහැදිලිද? right? ඔන්න මම උදාහරණ වගේකුත් දීලා තියෙනවා. right? dependent clause උයි independent clauses උයි examples එක්කම මම දීලා තියෙනවා. අපි නිකන් එකක් ගමුකෝ. when I read a novel dependent clause එක. දැන් මම ඉස්සෙල්ලා කිව්වා dependent clause එක වාක්‍යයක් විදිහට තියන්න බෑ. හැබැයි independent clause එක අපිට වාක්‍යයක් විදිහට තියත හැකියි. මොකද ඉතින් ක්‍රියාව කරන්නෙකුයි ක්‍රියාපදයකුයි තියෙනවා නම් සම්පූර්ණ අදහසකුත් දෙනවා නම් අපේ වාක්‍යයක් ඉදිරියට තියන්න බැරි කමක් නැහැ. හොඳම උදාහරණය මම කිව්ව birds fly. වචන දෙකක් තිබුණාට සම්පූර්ණ අදහසක් දෙන හොඳ වාක්‍යයක්. right? I look for careful attention to detail. ඒක independent clause එකක්. When I read a novel, right? ක්‍රියාපදයකුත් තියෙනවා. නාමපදයකුත් තියෙනවා. හැබැයි සම්පූර්ණ අදහසක් නැහැ. වාක්‍ය සම්පූර්ණ නැහැ. ඒක නිසා dependent clause එකක් සම්පූර්ණ වාක්‍යයක් විදිහට තියන්න බැරි බව මෙන්න මේ example එකෙන් හොඳටම තේරෙනවා. බලන්න හැබැයි එහෙම වුණාට I look careful attention to detail. බලන්න මේකේ සම්පූර්ණ අදහසක් තියෙනවා. right? ඒක නිසා ඒක independent clause එකක් වෙනවා. පැහැදිලිද? මොනවා හරි ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවද ළමයි? Children, do you have any questions? Yes, Miss Chitrangani, do you have any questions?
Little bit difficult to understand.
Okay, that is because these sentences are too long. මෙතන දීලා තියෙන examples, bigger examples දීලා තියෙනවා. හරිද? මම ඒක එකක් තරම් පැහැදිලි කරේ. Okay, I'll explain the rest too. If you subscribe to this online service, හරිද? දැන් බලන්න subscribe කියන එක ක්‍රියාපදයක්. online service කියන එක නාමපදයක්. right? subject එකක්. right? නමුත් සම්පූර්ණ අදහසක් තියෙනවා. If you subscribe to this online service, what will happen? ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා නේද? හිතට එනවානේ මොකක්ද වෙන්නේ? අපි දන්නේ සම්පූර්ණ වාක්‍යයක් නෙවෙයි. 30 තැනක් තියෙනවා හිතේ. නේද? what? why? ඔය වගේ ප්‍රශ්න එනවා නේද හිතට? එහෙම ප්‍රශ්නයක් කියන ගොඩාක් වෙලාවට ඒක dependent clause එකක් වෙනවා. සම්පූර්ණ වාක්‍යයක් නෙමෙයි ඒක නාමපදයකුයි ක්‍රියාපදයකුයි තිබ්බ පළියට. පැහැදිලිද?
Yes.
Yes. දැන් බලමුකෝ ඊට එහා පැත්තේ දීලා තියෙන you will need a password. You will need a password. ඔයාලට password එකක් ඕනේ. right? password කියන එක subject එක need කියන්නේ අවශ්‍යයි. ඒක තමයි verb එක. will need කිව්වත් will need ගන්නත් පුළුවන්නේ. verb එක විදිහට. ඉතින් ඕකේ සම්පූර්ණ අදහසක් තියෙනවා නේද මිස් චිත්‍රාංගනි?
Yes.
අන්න ඒක නිසා ඕක independent clause එකක් වෙනවා. dependent clause එකකුයි independent clause එකකුයි තියෙනවා නම් අපේ ඔය දෙක ඇත්තටම subordinating conjunction එකක් දාලා සම්පූර්ණ වාක්‍යයක් ලස්සනට හදන්න පුළුවන් මෙහෙම කමා නැතුව. තේරුණාද?
තේරුණා.
ඔව්. ඒක තමයි මම කලින් slides වල කිව්වේ. කවදාවත් අපිට dependent clause දෙකක් හෝ independent clause දෙකක් එකට එකතු කරන්න බෑ subordinating conjunctions දාලා. ගොඩක් වෙලාවට එහෙම වෙන වෙලාවල් තියෙන බොහෝම හම්බෙයි. right? හැබැයි independent clauses දෙකක් එකට එකතු කරන්න පුළුවන් coordinating conjunction එකක් දාලා. right? okay. right. We'll go to the last example also of this. Because supplies were limited, the store ran out of the sale item quickly. Supplies were limited. Supplies ප්‍රමාණවත් තරමට නොතිබුණ නිසා. Supplies කියන්නේ එතකොට subject එක, limited කියන එක එතකොට verb එක. sorry. right? ඒක නිසා ඒක අපිට මේක සම්පූර්ණ වාක්‍ය ඛණ්ඩයක් නෙමෙයි. ඒක නිසා අපි dependent clause එකක් විදිහට මේක ගන්නෙ. The store ran out of the sale item quickly. The store ran out of. right? තව එකක් තියෙනවා තව noun එකක් එකේ තියෙනවා sale item. quickly. The store ran out of the sale item quickly. store එකේ sales කරන්න තිබුණ items ඉවර වුණා. සම්පූර්ණ අදහසක් තියෙන ඒ කොටසේ. ඒක නිසා ඒක අපි independent clause එකක් විදිහට ගන්නවා. right? Everything is clear. Am I right? මං හිතන විදිහට ඔක්කොම clear. නේද? මොනවා හරි ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවද? Any questions for you to ask? මොනවා හරි ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවද අහන්න?
මිස් මේ යන ගමන් අපිට මේක පොඩ්ඩක් ලියා ගන්නත් දුන්නා නම් හොඳයි.
ලියාගන්න. ඕකේ. මං ස්ලයිඩ් එකයි ෂෙයා කරන්න ඕනද?
කරා නම් හොඳයි මිස්.
කරා නම් හොඳයි. ඕකේ. you share no problem at all. Which slide do you want? මොන ස්ලයිඩ් එකද ඕන?
අන්තිමට දාපු එක.
අන්තිමට දාපු ස්ලයිඩ් එක. ඕකේ. I really appreciate that. You know why? අනිවාර්යෙන් කියලා දෙනකොට ලියා ගන්නවා නම් තමයි වඩා වැදගත්. ඔයාලා නෙමෙයි මම වුණත් අදට ඉගෙන ගන්නයි කියන හරි ලෙක්චර් එකකට පාටිසිපේට් වුණොත් අනිවාර්යෙන්ම මමත් ලෙක්චර් එක යන වෙලාවේදී කොච්චර ස්ලයිඩ් ෂෙයා කරත් මමත් නෝට් ඩවුන් කරගන්න. I really appreciate that. You know why? කියලා දෙනකොට ලියා ගන්න එක තරම් වටින්නේ නැහැ. පස්සේ ලියා ගන්නම් කියලා කිව්වට ඇත්තටම ලියා ගන්න වෙන්නේ නැහැ. right?
ඔව්.
මේක අවුරුදු ගණනාවකට කලින් මම ඉගෙන ගන්න කාලේ වුණත් ගත්ත ස්ලයිඩ්ස් තාමත් මං ගාව තියෙනවා ලියාගෙන නැහැ. right? හොඳම උදාහරණයක් ඒක. හදටත් ලියලා නැහැ. හදටත් ඒ ස්ලයිඩ්ස් පෙන් ඩ්‍රයිව් එකක දාලා තියෙනවා. right? එහෙම වෙලාවල් තියෙනවා. ඒක නිසා හොඳම දේ ඊට පස්සේ ඉඳන් කරපු හැම ඒ මුල්ම එකේ මගේ ඩිග්‍රී එකේ එක සෙෂන් එකක ස්ලයිඩ්ස් තාම තියෙනවා. මම එදා ලියා ගන්නවයි කියලා හිටියට නමුත් මට ලියාගන්න වෙලාවක් තිබුණේ නැහැ. පස්සේ ඕන වුණ වෙලාවල් වෙන්නේ මම මේ ස්ලයිඩ්ස් බැලුවා විතරයි. මම ලිව්වේ නැහැ. right? හොඳම දේ ඒක නිසා සෙෂන් එකේ යනකොට ස්ලයිඩ් එකේ මොනවා හරි තියෙන දෙයක් කොහොම කියන දෙයක් තියෙනවා නම් ලියා ගන්න එක තමයි. right? මොකද ඔයාලට පැහැදිලිවම ලියා ගන්නත් නම් මොනවා හරි තියෙනවා නම් මගෙන් අහන්නත් පුළුවන්. පස්සේ ලියන අය කිව්වට ලිය වෙන්නේ නැහැ නේද? That's true.
ලියවෙන්නේ නැහැ.
You are busy with your work, you are busy with your children's work, you have some other work. Yeah. You have family matters, everything is there for you to deal with. So you don't have time to take down notes, right? Obviously, if you have a time, you will be taking printouts of these slides. ගොඩක් වෙලාවට කරන්නේ videos නැතුව අනිත් slides print out ගන්න එක තමයි.
හරි මිස්.
Okay.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you miss.
Right.
I wrote.
Okay, welcome. Right. Now we'll watch the video which gives you information about the clauses. Right? Okay. If there's anything important, please take down notes. මේ videos පෙන්නන්නේ ඔයාගේ listening හැදෙන්නත් එක්ක. Right? Please listen very carefully. ඔයා ඉන්න background එක මම දන්නේ නැහැ. I don't know what is the background you are staying with. Sometimes you might be on the road, sometimes you might be at the bus, sometimes you might be still at the workplace. Yeah. So make sure you are listening very carefully while you are looking at the screen. මේ videos පෙන්නන්නේ videos වලින් දකින දේවල් ඉක්මනට ඔලුවට යනවා. රූපණේ ඉක්මනට ඔලුවට යනවා. ඒකයි මේ videos එහෙම පෙන්නන්නේ. අනික මේ accent එක වැදගත්. right? familiar වෙන්න. UK accent තියෙනවා, Australian අයගේ accent තියෙනවා, Switzerland අය තවත් විදිහකට කතා කරනවා. එතකොට USA අය තව විදිහකට කතා කරනවා. අපි සිංහල අපි කතා කරන accent එක වෙනස්ම එකක්. එතකොට ඉන්දියාවේ එක්කෙනෙක් ඉංග්‍රීසි කතා කරනවා නම් තවත් එකක්. තුර්කියේ ටර්කිෂ් එක්කෙනෙක් කතා කරනකොට accent එක තවත් එකක්. මේ accents වලට familiar වෙන්න. මේක දවසින් කරන්න පුළුවන් දෙයක් නෙවෙයි accent familiar කියන එක. ඒක නිසා හොඳට අහන්න වීඩියෝ එක බලන ගමන් හොඳට අහන්න. earphones එකක් තියෙනවා නම් headset එකක් තියෙනවා නම් දාලා අහන්න. right? While you are looking at the video, just make sure that you are listening very carefully and also take down notes. අහන දේවල් හොඳට මතක හිටිනවා. දකින දේවල්. right? That's the purpose of showing the video. Okay? So now we'll see what's the difference of these independent clauses versus the dependent clauses. Right?
Independent clause. An independent clause is a group of words that contains a subject and a verb. This type of clause makes sense on its own as a sentence. For example, Jane ate pasta. The subject in this sentence is Jane and the verb is ate. Another example is Sam went to the park. The subject in this sentence is Sam and the verb is went. As we can see from these examples, they make sense on their own and they convey a complete thought. Dependent clause. A dependent clause is also a group of words that contains a subject and a verb. However, a dependent clause doesn't make sense on its own as a sentence. For example, because she was hungry. As we can see from this example, there's a subject and a verb. However, the clause doesn't make sense on its own, as it doesn't convey a complete thought. Therefore, we can combine the independent clause and dependent clause, like this. Jane ate pasta because she was hungry. As we can see here, the dependent clause depends on the independent clause to make sense. Another example is, after he finished. Again, this clause doesn't make sense as it doesn't convey a complete thought. Therefore, we can combine it with an independent clause like this. Sam went to the park after he finished school. We can also identify dependent clauses by looking for a subordinating conjunction. A subordinating conjunction introduces a dependent clause. There are many types of subordinating conjunctions, such as after, although, before, because, etc. Now, test your knowledge by identifying whether each of the following is an independent clause or a dependent clause. You can pause the video here so you have time to think about your answers.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel Sparkle English, where I teach you how to improve your level of English. Today is a very important grammar lesson on the difference between independent clauses and dependent clauses. In today's lesson, I will teach you what these are and how to identify an independent and a dependent clause. At the end of this lesson,
I actually wanted to show this thing. You can see independent clause. I was shy and clever. Dependent clause when I was a child. From this example, it's very clear, Miss Chitrangani, right? Can you see dependent clause when I was a child? What? What are you talking? ඒ වගේ ප්‍රශ්න එනවා නේද ඔළුවට? මොකද්ද මේ කියන්නේ? ඇයි? එහෙම ප්‍රශ්න එනවනේ ඔළුවට. Right? Independent clause කියනකොට බලන්න I was shy and clever. හරි පැහැදිලිව තියෙන හැමදේම. Right? Am I right?
Right.
Yes. So that's it. So any questions regarding dependent clause, independent clause?
I can see independent clause is perfect.
Perfect in the
Dependent.
sense, like,
Perfect meaning there's a meaning. There's a
yes,
meaning. Can understand.
yes.
Dependent clause. There is some question.
Question in the sense, it's not complete. ඒක සම්පූර්ණ
Not
නැහැ.
come. Yes.
ඒ කියන්නේ ඒකේ සම්පූර්ණ අදහසක් නැහැ.
අදහසක් නෑ. Because කියලා පටන් ගත්තම අදහසක්ම නෑනේ.
Yes, obviously yes. Right. Anything, any other questions you want to ask? Others, do you have any questions?
So far so good.
So far? Okay, great. Right. Now we'll go to the next bunch. Before that, can you see the screen?
Past perfect.
Last day we did past simple past tense, past continuous tense we did, right? So first of all, today, right, after learning conjunctions and all these dependent and independent clauses, now I'm going to show you a small video which gives you funny jokes, right, in English. Otherwise, it's boring to listen to all the things whatever I'm saying and telling you all our lessons, right? Now I'm going to show you a video which gives you some jokes in English, right?
Top 10 School Jokes.
Did you do your math homework? No. I've already got my own problems.
Why did the boy eat his homework? Because his teacher said it was a piece of cake.
Okay. මෙතන කිව්වා why did the boy eat his homework? ඇයි නිකන් මේ පිරිමි ළමයා මේ ගෙදරට කෑවා වගේ කිව්වේ? ගෙදරට කෑවා වගේනේ. Why did the boy eat his homework? මොකද්ද මේ ගෙදර වැඩ කෑවා කියලා කිව්වේ? Eat කියන්නේ කනවානේ. Because his teacher said it was a piece of cake. Piece of cake කියන්නේ කේක් කෑල්ලම නෙවෙයි. A piece of cake කියන්නේ idiom එකක්. හරි ලේසි දෙයක් ලේසියෙන් කරගන්න පුළුවන්. අයියෝ opening the door is a piece of cake. දොර අරින එක කජු කෑල්ලක් වගේ ලේසි වැඩක් කියලා කියන්නේ. piece of cake. Right?
How do you get straight A's? By using a ruler.
How do you get straight A's? කොහොමද ඒකක් straight කෙලින් ගන්න? ඒකක් straight ගන්න බෑනේ කෙලින්. නැද්ද? ඒ අකුරක් straight කෙලින් ගන්න එළියන්න පුළුවන්ද? බෑ. මේ දෙකම ඇල කරලා නෙලියන්නේ. by using a ruler. ruler පාවිච්චි කළා තමයි නම් කෙලින් ගන්න වෙන්නේ. right? ඒත් කෙලින් ගන්න අමාරුයි.
How do you make 7 even? Remove the S.
right? 7 කියන එක odd number එකක්නේ. odd even. odd කියන්නේ ඔප්පේ, even කියන්නේ ඉරයක්ටේ. ඔයගොල්ලෝ දන්න දෙකෙන් බෙදෙන සංඛ්‍යා 0 2 4 6 ඒවා even numbers 1 3 5 දිගට යනවා odd numbers. S එක අයින් කරොත් 7 කියන එක even විදිහට ගන්න පුළුවන්. හරි? EVEN විතරනේ තියෙන්නේ S අකුර නෑ. එතකොට අකුරු 4 4 කියන්නේ even number එක.
Why were the teacher's eyes crossed? She couldn't control her pupils.
Why were the teacher's eyes crossed? ඇයි ටීචර් ගේ ඇස් එහෙම දුවන්නේ? මොකද ළමයි දඟලනවා. ළමයිව කන්ට්‍රෝල් කරගන්න අමාරුයි. ඒක නිසා ටීචර් එහෙම බල බල ඉන්නේ. Right?
What school do you greet people in? High school.
What school do you greet people in? Right? ළමයින්ට greet කරන්නේ මොන ස්කෝල්ද කියලා අහනවා. මිනිස්සුන්ට greet කරන්නේ මොන ස්කෝල්ද කියලා අහනවා. High school. High school ලියනකොට HIGH ලියන්නේ. high school කියලා කිව්වට HI වගේ නෑ හෙන්නේ. high. Right? HIGH ඇත්තටම spellings. මේක joke එකක්. Right?
What would happen if you took the school bus home? The police would make you bring it back.
What would happen if you take the school bus home? School bus එක ගෙදර ගෙනාවම මොකද වෙන්නේ? The police would make you bring it back. අනිවාර්යෙන් පොලිසිය අරගෙන ඇවිල්ලා ඒක අරගෙන යනවා. Wait.
At the end of this ruler there is an idiot. At which end?
A joke එක හොඳ joke එක. Right? At the end of this ruler there is an idiot. මේ ruler එක අවසානයේ මෝඩයෙක් ඉන්නවා. idiot කියන්නේ මෝඩයන්නේ. Pissed off teacher. teacher තරහ ගිහින් ඉන්නේ. Right? ළමයා අහනවා at which end? මොන පැත්තද? Right?
Why did the teacher write the lesson on the windows? He wanted the lesson to be very clear.
අය අහනවා teacher අනිලවල් වල මොනවද? lesson එක ලිව්වේ. lesson එක බොහොම පැහැදිලි වෙන්නලු. Right? These are jokes, huh?
What is a pupil's 3 favorite words? June, July, and August.
ළමයින්ගේ favorite words මොනවද කියලා අහන June, July and August. Right? Any reason you think like why the video says something like this? August, June, July. Why? As I think it's a vacation period. Right?
Thanks for watching.
Okay. These were actually some jokes, right? Okay. So I hope you understood whatever these jokes were saying, right? Any questions regarding the jokes? Please unmute your mic and anything you want to ask? Okay. Now we'll watch another video, right? This is actually a speech, award winning speech, right? Watch this video. About a person who has won actually an award, right? Award winning speech, which was done by Dhananjay Hettiarati. One day I showed you, right? But it was without subtitles, but today I'm showing that with subtitles. With subtitles.
Dhananjaya Hettiarati, I see something. I see something. Dhananjaya Hedirachi.
Actually, this is kind of a motivational speech, and also while you are being motivated, you will also be learning English. Because this video, like, this is a Sri Lankan person, this is a Tomian guy, right? It's a nice story of him. See whatever the things he says, and also look at the subtitles and hear and acknowledge what the video says, right? That's the most important fact of showing this video.
You and I are not very different from this flower. Just like this flower is unique, you are unique. All of us has something special that makes us as beautiful. Do you know what makes you special? Now the answer to that can be a little difficult to find, because sometimes life has a cruel way of picking out your pet.
Dhananjaya see something. I see something. Dhananjaya Hedirachi.
You and I are not very different from this flower. Just like this flower is unique, you are unique. All of us has something special that makes us as beautiful. Do you know what makes you special? Now the answer to that can be a little difficult to find, because sometimes life has a cruel way of picking out your pet.
There's a short of this video.
Something happened.
Life
Sorry.
has a
Yeah, you can't see it. Huh?
sometimes life
I'll show that with the help of the 1 minute, because
Yes.
something has happened to this video. That's fine.
Yeah.
I see something. I see something. Dhananjaya Hedirachi.
You and I are not very different from this flower. Just like this flower is unique, you are unique. All of us has something special that makes us as beautiful. Do you know what makes you special? Now the answer to that can be a little difficult to find, because sometimes Life has a cruel way of picking out your petals, breaking you in two, and throwing you into the trash. And when you're broken, it's very difficult to feel special. Mr. Contest Chair, my fellow flowers, I can remember the first time I broke. I was 17 years old. I had already flunked high school and managed to get myself arrested. Now, I wasn't afraid of the cops, but there was one person I was very afraid of, and that was my mama. Raise your hand if you have an emotional mother. Let me see. Put them all together, you get my mom. I can hear her scream outside the police station. Even the cops were afraid. She came up to me, held the iron bars, looked into my eyes, and I saw a tear coming down her face. Now, I've seen my mama cry before, but mothers cry 3 types of tears. Tears of joy, tears of sorrow, and tears of shame. And when a son sees a mother cry tears of shame, that's a life-changing moment. She looked at me and said, "Son, I want you to be a better man." That night, when I drove home, my dad was waiting for me at home. Now, my dad is a cool dad. Raise your hand if you have a cool dad. Put them all together, you get my dad. My dad came up to me and said, "Son, it's okay. You flunked your exams. You already got arrested. That's fine. You get that from your mother's side. I want you to start working immediately." And I said, "Okay." So my dad took me to meet one of his friends called Sam. Now, Sam was an accountant who had an accounting firm and had generously decided to make me his personal assistant. And there he was. He looked like a teddy bear. But this man was special. I looked at him and he looked at me. And then he said the most amazing thing. He said, "Son, I see something in you, but I don't know what it is. If you decide to work with me, I can help you find that something." And I was like, "Whoa, that's the first time in my whole life somebody has ever told they see something in me." And I started working for Sam. And every day after work, he used to tell me stories about the world, about history, about culture, about philosophy. And it was much more interesting than what I learned in school. And I discovered I can dream. And I started dreaming, ladies and gentlemen. After 1 year, I went back into high school, completed my exams, and went into college. After successfully completing college, I found a great girl, but not a job. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. Have you ever had that problem? And when you're lost, it's difficult to feel special. So I went back to my cool dad. And I said, "Dad, I feel lost." He said, "You are like your mother." So my dad introduced me to this strange club that had a strange name, with strange people talking. On the first meeting, they told me to do something called a table topic. I aced it. But while I was speaking, I see a strange man seated in the back row. Humble, simple. The unfailing quality of kindness in his eyes. As soon as I finished, he walked up to me, looked me dead straight in the eye, and said, "Son, I see something in you, but I don't know what it is. If you come here twice a month maybe we can find that something. And ladies and gentlemen, I discovered I could speak, and I love speaking. And that led me to become a teacher. I know what it's like to not have enough money in your bank account. I know what it's like to worry when the bills start coming in. And sometimes, in the middle of the night, I wake up my beautiful wife and I ask her, honey, why did you marry me? She says, I saw something in you. But I still don't know what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm a dreamer, I'm a speaker, and I learned the unfailing quality of unconditional love from my wife. I was broken, and I've been broken, lost, and broke many times in my life. But the people in my life were able to reach into the trash can and make me whole again. If it was up to me, I would have never been able to do that. And this is why if you have great people in your life, no matter how broke, how lost, or how broken you become, they can piece you back together. Ladies and gentlemen, when I look at you, I see something in you. But I don't know what it is. Over to you.
Okay. I hope this video was really useful. Right?
Yes.
Yes. You have learned something from that as well. Right. So sorry of like the video, whatever I have downloaded and included to the PowerPoint presentation is not working actually.
If it is that with the title, it is good for us to understand more.
You mean
There's a title, no? To that
subtitle?
subtitle.
Yes. Subtitles were there. Yes. Right. So, like, do you want the break now itself before we move on to past tense?
Yes.
Better, no?
Better.
Okay. Right. Go have the break now. It's 8:44. 20 minutes of break is enough, right?
Enough.
Yes. 9 past 5 minutes. Please be here. We'll be doing past perfect, past perfect continuous, and simple future tense as well. Enjoy your break and be here on time. Okay?
Madam.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes,
I will
Samda.
leave the meeting. I will leave the meeting because it's my personal matter. I will catch up the
With the
session with
recording.
the recording. Okay, ma'am.
Okay, no
Bye.
problem at all.
Okay.
But make sure you are watching the recording.
But reason is I can't helping hear you. Yes, yeah, it's necessary.
You can't hear me very clearly?
Yeah?
You can't hear me clearly. That's what the reason is.
No. I have person.
Okay.
But
Some personal
reason
issues.
is
Okay.
I can't help leaving you because
Okay.
you are teaching method is very nice, very good. Okay, bye.
Okay. Are you all there to start the session? Okay. Till the others join, we will not be wasting our time, right? I want you to write a small paragraph, which contains 75 words under the topic of tourism in Sri Lanka. You have like 15 minutes. Yes, you have 15 minutes. Take your time. I'll be taking your answers like around, if it is not enough 15 minutes, we'll give like 20-25 minutes. Yes, 9:30. I'll be taking the answers. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Right? Yes, I have given a task for you to do, right? It's like this. A small paragraph which contains 75 words maximum, that's about tourism sector in Sri Lanka, which is currently having a good kind of reputable sector in Sri Lanka, right? Tourists visiting Sri Lanka, world rankings are there, some sort of readings are there, which includes about Sri Lanka to visit among the foreigners. So, yeah, I want you to write a small paragraph about tourism. You have time till 9:30. Maximum 75 words, huh? Have you all done or any progress? Anything you want to ask from me? Any questions? Yes. Isuri, do you have any questions regarding the task? Kasun, Mr. Kasun? Any questions? Miss Chitrangini, any questions? Feel free to ask. Any support from my end?
Actually, I wrote, I wrote, and there's another small paragraph to write.
Okay, continue.
Yes.
Others, please, any questions? Are you all doing the work?
Okay, miss.
What about the others? Yes. Miss Chitrangani, can you please read your answer? There might be
Yes.
mistakes.
Yes.
That's totally fine.
Yes, miss.
Yes.
Mm. Tourism in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is a very beautiful country in Asia. It is a very small island. It has a lot of greeneries.
Excuse me to interrupt you. අපිට පුළුවන් නේද ලංකාව සිල්ක් රූට් එකේ පිහිටලා තියෙනවා. සේද මාවතේ පිහිටලා නේද තියෙන්නේ. සිල්ක් රූට්.
Silk
ශ්‍රී
route.
ලංකා. Yes. ඒක හදා ගන්නකො සිල්ක් රූට්. ශ්‍රී ලංකාව සිල්ක් රූට් එකේ පිහිටලා තියෙනවා. ශ්‍රී ලංකා is located.
Located. No?
Yes, better.
Right.
Located in Silk
Right.
Route. Continue.
It has a lot of greeneries. In the middle of the country, there are mountains. It gives a specialty for the people. In other areas, there are coconut trees. Around the country, there is a sea. It gives a lot of fish. In our
Excuse me. Sri Lanka is surrounded by the sea. Surrounded
by
the sea.
by
Sri Lanka is by the sea. Muhuda. Sea.
By the sea. Right, miss.
Okay. Continue.
In our country, the same day, the climate gives different weather, hot and cool.
Okay.
In June, July, August, tourists are coming to our country because in that season, their countries are summer. It's something wrong, no?
Yeah. To interrupt you, right?
Yes.
Point එකක් තිබුණා hot and cold weather කියලා.
Cold weather, yes.
වෙනස් කරනවා නම්. I would like you to change it like this. මම කැමති ඒක මෙහෙම වෙනස් කරන්න. මම කැමති ඒක ඔයා මෙන්න මෙහෙම කියනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ Sri Lanka, even though Sri Lanka is a small country, anyone who wants cold weather or hot weather can have that within 24 hours. පැය 24ක් ඇතුළත ඒ අදාළ කෙනාට ඒ කියන්නේ ප්‍රශ්න කාලගුණයකටත් සීතල කාලගුණයකටත් ඕනනම් මාරු වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඇත්තනේ. කතරගම ඉඳන් කතරගම hot. ප්‍රශ්නේ පොළොන්නරුව. පොළොන්නරුව ඉඳන් නුවරඑළියට යන පැය 24ක් ඇතුළත පුළුවන්. එතකොට ඔයාලට පැය 24ක් ඇතුළත සීත සහ උණුසුම් කාලගුණ දෙකම ගන්න පුළුවන්. නේද?
Yes, even Miss Bandarwell to Vellavaya also the same.
Yes, you can include that. Yes, you can say that also. For an example, from Bandaravela to this place, yes. Vellavaya, you can travel within 24 hours.
Right. 20 minutes.
Yes, 20 minutes. You can include that.
Yes.
අපි හැම වෙලාවෙම ලියනකොට ලියන්න ඕනේ අපි යුනික් වෙන්න. මොකද එසේ එකක් වුණත් දුන්නම එකම විදිහට ලියනකොට ලකුණු අඩු වෙනවා. right? හැමෝගෙම essays කියලා ඔක්කොම එක වගේ තියෙනකොට exam එකකදී ලකුණු අඩු වෙන්නේ නැද්ද? අනිවාර්යෙන්ම අඩු වෙනවා. Right? If you want to take marks or if you want to take a good score or if you want to write it very creatively, yeah, sure and short, you need to have unique set of words, phrases. Always be unique. Okay, continue, Miss Chitrangani.
In June, July, August, tourists are coming to our country because their weather are very hot. It is
Okay.
summertime. Tourists likes to go to Nuwarelia, Ella, Badulla, Bandaravela, um, Adisham Goal. When they come, they enjoy very much. Some tourists are coming every year. They like our people. People smile and welcome.
Hmm.
When they are coming to our country, Sri Lankan people gets a lot of money. These days,
Hmm.
most of the tourists are coming from India.
Okay.
They said very cheap to come here and do their celebrations, even wedding. Tourists are like Sri Lanka very much.
Hmm.
Finish.
Okay. You can also include tourism, like tourist in Lanka, 5-star hotels, 7-star hotels in Sri Lanka, right?
Yes.
And also tourists are coming because of wildlife and what do we call beaches. Beach තියෙන නිසා සහ අරුගම්බේ එතකොට නිලාවෙලි එතකොට සංගල් එහෙම යන්නේ බීච් නිසාමයි. ඒකට ફોકස් කරලා හදලා තියෙන hotels තියෙනවා. Citrus. Yes. Even Colombo also same. Right? අරුගම්බේ වල hotels තියෙනවා. You forgot something. We have a World Heritage called Sigiri. Sigiri. Yes, eighth World Heritage. Sigiri is there. World Heritage. World Heritage. Lokurumea. I'll drop that to the chat box. At least, you know.
Recently, I saw the video. That is Delhi. There is a we call Delhi. There is a.
Don't take it as a World Heritage because still
No, that
Sigiriya
is Sigiriya. But they are saying now our Malikawa is the first one.
Temple of Tooth Relic.
Temple, yes.
Temple
Recently
of Tooth
they
Relic.
said, yes.
Okay. And also, yeah, it's there. And Lanka to ගොඩාක්ම මිනිස්සු එන ලොකුම හේතුව hospitality. අපේ මිනිස්සු හරිම මිත්‍රශීලී. Oh, yes, we are warmly welcoming all the people. We talk with everyone. Right? We have that quality. So, yeah. Good, actually. Your attempt is really appreciated because, yeah, you said your answer without a hesitation. Thank you very much, Miss Chitrangani.
Thank you, Miss.
Okay. Mr. Kasun, can I get your answer, please, if you have written? Mrs. Suri, if you have written, please speak, or else we can move on. As it remains silent, I'll continue. Last week we did simple past tense and past continuous tense. So today we are going to do past perfect tense. So we use past perfect tense to indicate certain different things. First thing is to indicate the order of events in the past which have happened. For an example, when my mom arrived, my friends had left. In the sense, you can see when the mother was arriving, Amma එන වෙලාවේදී යාළුවෝ ගෙදර හිටියේ නැහැ. යාළුවෝ ගිහින්. Right? Action දෙකක් වෙනවා. අම්මා එනකොට යාළුවෝ හිටියේ නැහැ. එතකොට යාළුවෝ ගිහින් ඉවරයි. ඒ කියන්නේ එක action එකක් වෙලා ඉවරයි තව action පස්සේ action එක ගැන කතා කරනකොට. right? අපිට ඒකම ලියන්න පුළුවන්. We can also write that my friends had left when my mom arrived. අම්මා එනකොට යාළුවෝ ගිහින්. left ගිහින් ඉවරයි. right? So you can see past perfect tense එකේ අපි පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ had එකත් එක්ක past participle එක verb එකේ. right? had එකයි past participle එකයි. තව example එකක් මම අරන් තියෙනවා ඒක කියන්නේ. The train had arrived on the second platform when we reached the station. අපි කෝච්චි නවත්තන අපි ස්ටේෂන් එකට යනකොට කෝච්චි ස්ටේෂන් එකට යනකොට කෝච්චිය දෙවනි වේදිකාවට ඇවිල්ලා ඉවරයි. කෝච්චිය ඇවිල්ලා ඉවරයි. අපි එතනට යනකොට කෝච්චිය තිබුණා. ඇවිල්ලා තිබුණේ. සමහර වෙලාවට යන්න ඔන්න මෙන්න තියෙනවා වෙන්න පුළුවන්. When we reached the station, the train had arrived on the second platform. Right? So to indicate the actions which have happened in the past before another action ends, we use simple, not simple past tense or past continuous tense, but we use past perfect tense, right? The second way of using past perfect tense is to denote the time until a specific point in the past, right? To explain that, I'll use an example. Anne had completed all 8 grades of Western music by the time she was 15 years old. When she was turning 15 years old, she has already completed all the 8 grades of Western music. And අවුරුදු 15 වෙනකොට 15 සම්පූර්ණ වෙන්න කලින් and grade 8ම ඉවරයි Western music exams වල. complete කරලා ඉවරයි. සම්පූර්ණ complete වෙන්න දෙයක් නෑ complete වෙලා ඉවරයි. right? Had Brian and Courtney arrived when I called you yesterday? ඊ මම ඔයාලට call කරනකොට call කරන වෙලාව වෙනකොට Brian උයි Courtney ඇවිල්ලාද හිටියේ කියලා අහනවා. ඇවිල්ලාද? ඒ කියන්නේ ඇවිල්ලා ඉවරද කියලා තමයි අහන්නේ. තාම එන ගමන්වත් එන්න ඉන්නවත් නෙමෙයි ඇවිල්ලා ඉවරද කියලායි අහන්නේ. right? So ඔය වගේ මොකක් හරි action එකක් ගැන අහනකොට හෝ කියනකොට ඊට කලින් ඒ සිදුවීමට අදාළ දේවල් වෙලා ඉවර නම් අපි පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ past perfect tense, right? තුන්වෙනි විදිහ. Representing an incomplete action that was not done in a specific time in the past before another simple past action, right? Incomplete action කියන්නේ සම්පූර්ණ නොවෙච්ච ක්‍රියාවක්, right? ඒකත් the past before another simple past action. සරල අතීත කාල ක්‍රියාවක් ගැන කියන්න කලින්. We'll see that also with the examples. The students had gone for their games period before the teacher could inform them about the assignment they had to do. Teacher ඒගොල්ලන්ට ළමයින්ට කරන්න තියෙන assignment එක ගැන කියන්න කලින් ළමයි ක්‍රීඩා පීරියඩ් එකට ගිහින් ඉවරයි. ළමයි ගිහින් ඉවරයි මේ assignment එක ගැන කියන්න හදනකොට ළමයි ගිහින් ඉවරයි. ඒක නිසා ටීචර් කියන assignment එක ගැන ළමයින්ට අහන්න බැරි වෙලා. right? They don't know what is the assignment about. It was so unfortunate that Finn had died before the series was over. series එක ඉවර වෙන්න කලින් Finn මැරුණා. එතකොට series එක ඉවර වෙනකම් Finn හිටියේ නැහැ. මැරිලා ඉවරයි Finn series එක ඉවර වෙනකොට. අද නම් ඉවර වෙන්නේ එක්කෝ ඊයේ මැරිලා. නැත්නම් පෙරේද මැරිලා. right? Any questions you need to ask or you have regarding this lesson? Past perfect tense. Any questions? Past perfect tense එකේ අපි පාවිච්චි කරන formula එක තමයි had එකත් එක්ක past participle එක. right? We use had plus past participle. right? Now we'll see about the past perfect tense.
Hello and welcome to English Speaking 360. Today we are showing you a simple explanation of the past perfect. Many students have problems with this, so after watching this video, you will be able to understand it and also you will be able to use it in a sentence. Let's go. Here's a sentence for you. My friends left the party when I arrived. We have two past events, but which happened first? Did they happen at the same time? It's not so clear because the order is not important. But when the order is important, we use the past perfect. My friends had left the party when I arrived. So, I arrived is in the past, but my friends had left is in the past perfect tense. It means it happened before a past action. The past perfect is basically the past of a past. This is what you have to know. Now, the first event is the oldest event. My friends had left. And the second event is the most recent event. The first event happened and finished before the second event. Remember, the first event must be finished. The first event is always at the past perfect, and the second event in the sequence is at the simple past. One thing you should remember, the verb order in the sentence is not important. So you could say, first event, my friends had left the party when I arrived. Or you could also say, when I arrived, my friends had left the party. The order is not important because the past perfect tells us that that is the first event. Leaving the party happened first and finished, and then later I arrived. Now, can you make a sentence? Here's the first event. I just finished lunch. And the second event, Joe called. I had just finished lunch when Joe called. Or you could also say, Joe called when I had just finished lunch. Remember, the first event is always at the past perfect. Now, how to form the past perfect? For regular verbs, I had just finished lunch when Joe called. We do it like this. You need an auxiliary verb and you need a past participle. You have two parts. The auxiliary verb is always have at the past tense because it is the past perfect. So we have had. And the past participle, you have to use the verb finish. So the PP, or the past participle of finish, is finished. So here you can see in the chart at the bottom that the simple past and the past participle have the same form, and that is for all regular verbs. Now, for irregular verbs, I had just gone out for lunch when Joe called. Once again, we have had, the past of have, and now we need the past participle of the verb go. So you probably know it, go, went, gone. You see, for irregular verbs, the past participle doesn't have the same form as the simple past. So, I had just gone out for lunch when Joe called. Can you make a sentence? First event, my dog ate my socks. Oh no! Second event, I got home and I saw. It should look something like this. I got home and I saw my dog my socks. My dog had eaten my socks because that happened before. It is the oldest event. The dog ate the socks, and later I got home and I saw. Let's try to make another sentence. The battery died. I took out my phone to call you. I took out my phone to call you, but the battery had died. Let's try again. I forgot my passport. I got to the airport and realized. I got to the airport and realized I had forgotten my passport. Or you could also say this. I realized I had forgotten my passport when I got to the airport. Getting to the airport and realizing both happened at the same time in the past. I saw that movie before. The movie started and I realized. The movie started and I realized I had seen it before. Or you can also say, I realized I had seen that movie before when it started. Be careful with this one. I had pizza the day before. I didn't want to eat pizza. I didn't want to eat pizza because I had had it the day before. Yes, this is not a mistake. I had had it. Okay? Because the verb is the verb have. And the auxiliary is also had at the past. So that's why we say I had had it the day before. But very often when people talk, they say this. I'd had pizza the day before, so I didn't want to eat that again. I'd had it. So this is what usually people say, and this is what you often hear, but you probably don't hear the first d. So you probably just hear, I had pizza the day before, so I didn't want to eat it again. But it's actually, I'd had pizza the day before. Good. Remember one thing, that the past perfect is the past of a past, and this is going to help you a lot. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to watch our other video. Hello
Okay,
and
any
welcome to
questions?
English Speaking 360.
Any questions about the video? No. Right. So we'll move on. If yes, please ask. Right. Last part of past tense, past perfect continuous tense. So past perfect continuous tense is used in certain different ways. There are actually 6 ways. 6 occasions we use past perfect continuous tense. First way, denoting an action that is the course of another action which was happened in the past, which has already completed in the past. Asha was completely exhausted as she had been traveling continuously for 3 days. She's almost exhausted before she ends the 3rd day, right? Because of traveling. George was angry because he had been waiting for them the whole day. Whole day as he was waiting for then he was actually angry, right? Sometimes not at the last moment he's angry, but at the middle, right? Afternoon, right? He might be angry. So, like, whole process before it ends, right? The action, the person who's doing the action is almost expressing some thought, right? For that, we are using past perfect continuous tense. You can see had plus been plus verb plus ing has been used because it is continuous. So, when it comes to continuous, we are using the verb plus ing formation in the sentence to denote past perfect continuous tense. Second way is representing an action that progressed in the past until another action in the past. Do you know for how long Anita had been working at the college before she moved to Pollachi? Before moving to Pollachi, that how long, how many years, how many days, how many months have been Anita working in the college, right? It's a question. Okay. So, for that sort of thing, we are using to express with the help of past perfect continuous tense. I had been waiting to hear from the admissions officer for more than a month before I applied to other colleges. Before applying to other colleges, I have been waiting for admissions from the other officers of the universities or from colleges, right? Because of not getting one application for admission, I have applied to other colleges. The reason of applying to other colleges is I didn't get any admission. That's why, right? So, to denote that, you are using past perfect continuous tense. We'll see what are the other usages of past continuous tense. Actually, there are 6 ways. So, these two are the best sort of ways of using past perfect continuous tense. Like different examples can be used to express past perfect continuous tense in other occasions. Very sort of advanced ways using examples. So, I'll stop from past perfect continuous with these two usages, right? Any questions regarding the past perfect continuous tense? Just denote that these two ways, these two uses are the most relevant, appropriate, the most used ways of expressing past perfect continuous tense. Any questions, please feel free to ask. Ready for your questions. If not, I can move on to the video.
Hi, in today's lesson, you're going to be learning about the past perfect continuous tense, or sometimes known as the past perfect progressive tense in English. For example, I had been working at my company for 2 years when I got a promotion. Here, had been working is in the past perfect continuous. It shows that an action that started in the past continued up until another time in the past. It is used to show that an event or action in the past was still continuing and not complete. The form of the past perfect continuous tense is had been plus the verb's present participle, which is usually the root and ing. So what's the difference with the present perfect continuous? The present perfect continuous indicates an action that began in the past and continued up into the present. For example, let's look at our original example as a present perfect continuous. I have been working at the company for 2 years. So that's up until the present, we're talking now. Let's look at this on a timeline. So the cross is when you started working, at the company at some point in the past, but you are still working there now and could continue maybe into the future. So we use the present perfect continuous. I have, and not had, been working. Whereas the past perfect continuous indicates something that began in the past, continued in the past, and also ended at a defined point in the past. On a timeline, it would look like this. I had been working at my company for 2 years when I got a promotion. So you began working in the past here with the first cross. You continued, that's the wiggly line, working until a defined point in the past. Here it's when you got a promotion. This is indicated with the second cross. Let's look at another example. He had been eating biscuits out of the jar when Mum walked into the kitchen. Let's see this on a timeline. So the first cross is when he started eating biscuits in the past, and he continued doing it until Mum walked into the kitchen. So that's another fixed point in the past. When, for, since and before are words that you may see used alongside the past perfect continuous tense. So, for example, Jenny had been walking 4 miles a day before she broke her ankle. So Jenny started walking in the past and continued until another fixed point in the past when she broke her ankle. Here the clue is that it's the past perfect tense because you're using the word before. Or the program that was terminated had been working well since 2010. Here our clue word is since. So the program started in the past and continued until another fixed point in the past, which is 2010. Or Zoe had been playing the piano for 5 years when she was finally asked to play with the local orchestra. So here the clue word is when. Zoe started playing the piano in the past and continued until another fixed point in the past when she was asked to play with the local orchestra. We do not normally use the past perfect continuous with stative verbs. Remember, a stative verb describes a state of being rather than a dynamic verb which describes an action. For example, to be, to know, to feel. These are all stative verbs. So with stative verbs, we use the past perfect simple instead. For example, up until that moment, I'd never believed and not never been believing in ghosts. So now it's your turn. Read the sentences and complete them using the past perfect continuous. 1. We played tennis yesterday. Half an hour after we began playing, it started to rain. So we blank when blank. Pause the video and think of your answer. We had been playing tennis for half an hour when it started to rain. 2. I had arranged to meet Gary in a restaurant. I arrived and waited for him. After 20 minutes, I realised I was in the wrong restaurant. I blank for 20 minutes when I blank the wrong restaurant. Again, pause the video. I had been waiting for 20 minutes when I realised I was in the wrong restaurant or that I had come to the wrong restaurant. 3. Sarah got a job in a factory. 5 years later, the factory closed down. At the time the factory blank Sarah blank there for 5 years. Pause the video. At the time the factory closed down, Sarah had been working there for 5 years. 4. I went to a concert last week. The orchestra began playing. After about 5 minutes, a woman in the audience suddenly started screaming. The orchestra blank when blank. Write your answer down below in the comment section. Remember to use the past perfect continuous, and I promise to give you feedback on your answer. So that's it for now. I hope you feel more confident using the past perfect continuous in English. Remember to like this video if you found it useful.
Okay. Any
Hi,
questions
in
regarding
today's lesson,
or can we come to the last step of this today's session? Right. Any questions? Okay. As there are no questions, I'll show you the difference between past perfect and past perfect continuous tense.
When we want that both happened in the past, two actions that both happened in the past, we often use the past perfect or the past perfect progressive, which is also known as the past perfect continuous. Do you know the difference between these two tenses? Let's find out. Ellie. To compare the past perfect and past perfect progressive, we'll start with a look at the form and function of these tenses. We'll also see some common time markers. Then, we'll see some examples and wrap it up with some practice to see how much you've learned. Let's start with how we form the past perfect and past perfect progressive in English. We form the past perfect tense by using the auxiliary verb had plus the past participle form of the verb. The past participle of regular verbs is formed by adding ed, while irregular verbs undergo various types of changes to the middle or ending of the verb. To form the past perfect progressive, we use the pattern had plus been plus an ing verb, which is also known as the present participle. Now let's talk about the function of these two tenses. When and why do we use the past perfect and the past perfect progressive? The past perfect is used for two completed actions that occur at different times in the past. We use the past perfect tense for the action that is further in the past and the simple past for the action that is more recent. For example, in the sentence, the restaurant had run out of my favorite dish by the time I arrived. The action had run out happened before the action arrived. Like the past perfect, the past perfect progressive also shows two actions that occur in the past. The difference is that the first action continues to the second past action. We use the past perfect progressive tense for the continuing past action and the simple past for the more recent completed action. For example, in the sentence, water had been dripping from the ceiling for days by the time they noticed the leak. The action, had been dripping, happened first and continued up to the action, noticed. Now let's talk about time markers. The main time markers for the past perfect and past perfect progressive tenses are very similar, but there are also additional, optional time markers that can help you distinguish between these two tenses. Let's take a look. Time markers are one or more words that show the time when an action takes place. Common time markers for the past perfect include by the time, when, before, and after. Note that typical past time markers, like yesterday, last, and ago, are often additionally used in the sentence. The time markers for the past perfect progressive also include by the time, when, before, and after. Note that additional time markers like for, since, and all are also typically used to show a continuing action. The main time markers appear at the beginning of the clause with the simple past verb. For example, we can say, the judges had already announced the winners by the time, when, or before they handed out the trophies. The same thing is true for the past perfect progressive. For example, we can say, the athletes had been celebrating their win for half an hour by the time, when, or before the judges handed out the trophies. Did you know that the time marker after is different? It only appears at the beginning of the clause with the past perfect verb, or, less commonly, the past perfect progressive verb, and not the clause with the simple past verb. Let's see those examples again with after. The judges handed out the trophies after they had announced the winners. The judges handed out the trophies after the athletes had been celebrating their win for half an hour. Okay, it's time to see the past perfect and past perfect progressive tenses in context. Let's look at some examples. My boss had left the office by the time I returned from a late lunch. The action that happened first is my boss left the office, so that gets the past perfect form, had left. The second action that's more recent is that I returned from a late lunch. I hope I don't get in trouble. You can also start the sentence with the dependent clause that contains the simple past verb, but don't forget that you'll need a comma. These two sentences have the exact same meaning. He had been training for a marathon before he broke his ankle. The first past action is the past perfect progressive action, had been training, and it continued up until the second past action, broke, which is the simple past tense. Like with a past perfect sentence, you can also start a past perfect progressive sentence with the dependent clause that contains the simple past verb. Let's look at one more set of examples. Had you had dinner by the time your friends got to your house last night? In this past perfect question, the speaker is asking if you ate dinner before your friends arrived. A past perfect question always starts with the auxiliary verb had, even when the main verb is also have. As usual, you can switch the order without changing the meaning. We hadn't been working on our project for very long when our teacher asked to see it. A negative past perfect progressive sentence is formed with had plus not plus been plus an ing verb. You can also switch the order of these clauses. Are you ready for some practice? Say or write the past perfect or past perfect progressive verb form. Think about the meaning and look for additional time markers to help you choose the best tense. Look at the verb in parentheses. Which tense do you need? The past perfect or the past perfect progressive? The answer is, by the time they arrived, we had been waiting at the airport for 3 hours. The additional time marker for 3 hours means we need the past perfect progressive tense. Let's try another one. Before the storm hit the city, they had already canceled the playoff game. That's it. These two actions happened at different times in the past, so we need to use the past perfect. Ready for another one?
The students all turn in their homework this
The students
morning.
all turned in their homework this morning after the teacher had threatened to fail them yesterday. The action had threatened was completed before the students turned in their homework. Now, how about this one? I had been interviewing candidates all week before I found the right person for the job. You got it. The additional time marker all week helps us choose a continuing action. Okay, last one. My best friend hadn't or had not told me her big news before I saw it on social media. Even though the first action, hadn't told, didn't actually happen, the timing of the action is still further in the past than the second action, saw. Good job! Now you know the difference between the past perfect and the past perfect progressive tenses. See you next time. When we want to talk about two actions that both happen.
Any questions regarding the lesson?
Miss,
Yes.
can't hear.
Yes. Okay, am I audible?
Uh,
Now am
Shaking.
I audible? Now is it? Now is it clear?
Not clear.
Now is it?
All right.
Okay, yes. Any questions? Yes, ask. Any questions you want to ask about the lesson? So we have
Yeah.
already done accent. Yeah. Yes,
Past
Mr.
perfect.
Chandni.
Yes. Past perfect always action and situation together or action.
Action and situation together. Action. Yes.
Yes. Only action can be, no?
Action has already happened in the past.
Past.
Action has already happened. Right? One has might be completed before the other one completes.
Miss, not clear your voice.
Now is it clear? Your voice is very clear for me.
Now is okay.
Like, it's like this. Before one action completes in the past, the previous action is already completed. විනාඩි 10කට කලින් වෙන්න වෙලා ඉවර වෙච්ච දෙයක් කියන්න කලින් පෙරේද වෙච්ච දෙයක් ගැන මං කියනවා. වෙච්ච දෙයක්. විනාඩි 10කට කලින් වෙච්ච දෙයක් කියන්න කලින් මම කියනවා
පෙරේද වෙච්ච
අන්න හරි. පෙරේද වෙච්ච දෙයක් හැබැයි ඒ විනාඩි 10කට කලින් ඉවර වුණ දෙයටම සම්බන්ධයි. හැබැයි දෙකම අතීත කාලෙන් තියෙනවා.
තියෙනවා. හරි. එතකොට had been තමයි වෙන්නේ.
past perfect නම් had එකත් එක්ක past participle විතරයි දාන්නේ. been දාන්නේ නැහැ.
been දාන්නේ නැහැ.
past perfect continuous එකේදී තමයි අපි been දාන්නේ. continuous කියන නිසා verb එකට ing දාලා තමයි පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ. මම කියවනේ continuous කියනකොට ඒ කියන්නේ progressive. ඒ කියන්නේ verb එකට ing දානවාමයි. Yes. Any other questions? Is it clear, Chitrangani?
Yes, miss.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. We have already completed past tense, right? There's another small video for like extra thing. It's not about tenses actually, basically or mainly. It's about used to, get used to, be used to. You have heard these three phrases. මේ තුනම අහලා තියෙනවා, මේ තුනම දන්නවා. හැබැයි මේ තුන පාවිච්චි වෙන විදිය මේකේ වෙනස අද හරියටම දැනගන්න පුළුවන්. Right? You will understand about the three differences of using these three phrases in certain different places. We'll watch that also for today. And wrap up. අපි මේකත් බලලාම ඉවර කරමු. Right?
Hello and welcome to English Speaking 360. Today we are going to study and practice three very important and useful English expressions. Used to, get used to, and be used to. And the problem is that they are very similar and many students confuse these three expressions. Make sure also not to miss the final test because it will really show you if you understand the three expressions. Let's get started. Okay, let me help you right away. Let's start with used to. Used to is a past habit. Remember this, it's important. It's a common action in the past, but I don't do it anymore. For example, in the past, I ate junk food, but now I don't eat junk food. So my habit has changed. I don't do it anymore. So what can I say? I have to say, I used to eat junk food. Now you notice, I said I used to eat. We don't say I used to eat junk food, okay? So the D and the to are connected and we say, I used to eat junk food. Now this is important. Remember this also. Used to is always followed by a verb. Here's an example. I used to eat junk food. Another one, you used to love dancing. She used to go for a walk after dinner. We used to play hockey together. So you see, every time after used to, we put a verb, nothing else. Here's another example. In the past, he drove his car everywhere, but now he rides his bike everywhere. So his habit has changed. What can you say? He used to drive his car everywhere. You can also use used to in the negative form. That's important. So used to is a past habit and didn't used to is a new habit. Good. Not a common action in the past, but now I do it often. Okay? Now watch out. Notice this right here. It's not used with a D. It's used to. Okay? Now where is the D? Where did the D go? The D is actually, it was a past tense, right? So now did is at the past right here. So that's why there is no D at the end here. So didn't used to. In the past, I didn't listen to music. Okay? Now I listen to music. So my habit has changed. What can you say? You can say, I didn't used to listen to music. Now here's another example. In the past, she didn't drink, but now she drinks a lot. Change of habit one more time. You can say, she didn't used to drink. Now hit the subscribe button, and now you can say, I didn't used to subscribe to English Speaking 360, but now I do. Let's move on to something a bit more difficult. Get used to. Get used to means to adapt. An easier way to say it is to become comfortable with something that was uncomfortable at first. So in the past it was not okay, but now I'm okay with it. There's a transition. Here's an example. This work schedule is terrible. Working the night shift is killing me. Yeah, it's hard at the beginning, but don't worry, you will get used to working nights. You will get used to working nights, so you will adapt eventually in the future. Here's another example. I moved from a quiet village to a busy city. At first, the noise bothered me, but now the noise doesn't bother me. So you see, there was an adaptation that took place right there. So what can you say? You can say, I got used to the noise. Right here, you notice this is the past tense. So I adapted to the noise. Okay, so that's why we say, I got used to the noise. You cannot say, I get used to the noise. You could say, I'm getting used to the noise, but that means that the adaptation is not complete. But I got used to the noise. The adaptation is complete. Now, I don't care about the noise. Remember this, it's important. Get used to is followed by a noun. For example, Jim got used to the job quickly. The job is a noun. You can also use a pronoun right there. She got used to it after a while. It is a pronoun. Or you could use ing verb. He got used to swimming every day. But remember, we studied used to before, and that was followed by a verb. But in the case of get used to, it cannot be followed by a verb. Here's another example. At my new job, I have to start work at 7 a.m. It's so hard to wake up early. I'm still trying to adapt to my new schedule. Still trying to adapt, so the adaptation is not complete. Watch out. So what do you say? You can say, I'm getting used to waking up early. Here's the last expression, be used to. Okay, now watch out. Be used to means to be accustomed to something, okay? Which means to be comfortable with a situation. I'm okay with this situation. There's no problem with it. Now notice the difference between get used to and be used to. Get used to was to become comfortable with a situation, right? From not okay to being okay. So becoming comfortable. Whereas be used to is to be comfortable with a situation. It means you are already okay with it. There is no transition there. You are fine with it already. So here's an example. I'm from Canada. Canada is cold. So I'm comfortable with the cold. What can I say? I can say, I'm used to the cold. That's it. It means I'm accustomed to the cold weather. Remember this, it's important. Be used to is followed by a noun. Sam is used to city life now. City life, noun. A pronoun, he is used to them being late. Them is a pronoun. I'm used to studying late at night. So that's a verb plus ing. Okay? But remember again, used to is followed by a verb, and get used to was followed by a noun pronoun. So get used to and be used to are very, very similar. Okay? So watch out with this and remember. Now here's one more example to make sure you understand well. He wakes up at 6 a.m. every day. Then he goes for a run. It's his daily routine. Okay, you're ready? Now what would you say? You would say, he is used to getting up early and going for a run. Now it's quiz time. I give you only 5 questions today, but they are not easy, so make sure you try to answer them well. Let's go. In the past, I played the violin. Now, I don't. Here are your choices. I used to play the violin. I got used to playing the violin. Or, I am used to playing the violin. Which one is right? You ready? And the answer is, I used to play the violin, but my habit has changed and now I don't play anymore. Question 2. Last year I started a new job. It took me some time to adjust to the workload. It took me some time to adjust. Watch out. First option, I used to the workload. I am getting used to the workload. Or I am used to the workload now. You ready? And the answer is I am used to the workload now because it took me some time to adjust, but the adjustment is over. So now I am okay with it. Question number 3. My girlfriend and I have just moved in together. It's hard to live with someone new. Little by little, I'm trying to adapt to living with her. Good. I'm trying to adapt. Watch out. Option 1, I used to live with my girlfriend. 2, I'm getting used to living with my girlfriend. Or 3, I am used to living with my girlfriend. You ready? Make your choice. And the right answer is B. I'm getting used to living with my girlfriend. But the adaptation is not over yet, so that's why you need the ing. I'm still in the process of getting used to living with her. Question number 4. Ever since I was a kid, I went rock climbing. Rock climbing is like second nature to me. Okay, I used to go rock climbing. I got used to rock climbing, or I am used to rock climbing. You ready? And the right answer is, of course, I am used to rock climbing because that's what I've always done in my life. It's my habit. It's every day. Nothing has changed. It's what I like doing. Question number 5, last question. Back in the day, I disliked spicy food. Little by little, I ate spicier and spicier food. Now, I can handle spicy food without a problem. Option 1, I used to dislike spicy food. 2, I got used to spicy food. Or 3, I am used to spicy food. You ready? And the right answer is A. Of course, I used to dislike spicy food, but now I like it. So it's a past habit. But you could also say, I got used to spicy food because the process is over. The transition, the adaptation is over, and now I'm okay with it. And of course, you could say, I am used to spicy food because, of course, the adaptation is over and now it's finished. So you can see from this example that the two last ones, the two last options, I got used to spicy food and I am used to spicy food, are exactly the same. So if you use get at the past tense right here, it is the same as saying I am used to something. Good job, guys. Hey, if you want to learn more useful English grammar, make sure you click on the
Any questions regarding the video?
It is good questions.
Yes, it's a useful video. Yes, because it explains everything very clearly. That's the reason actually. No? So, yes. Anything you want to ask? Before we wrap up, any questions for you to ask? Anything? No, right? Okay. So for today, we'll wrap up now. Right. Next day, we will meet with new set of lessons and more activities and videos as well, including tasks. So thank you for joining for the session.
Thank you, Miss. Thank you very much. Miss, last week I couldn't participate last week. Can I put the video last week also?
Better you can ask it from the management. I have already recorded.
Mm-hmm.
I'll upload that, I guess.
Right.
I heard that there was a certain issue with the Zoom meeting or the recording. They'll try to solve it and upload the video.
All right, boss.